Hi, I'm Representative Tammy Nichols.
And I'm Senator Christy Zito.
And we are coming to you today. Today is Thursday, March 24th, and we just got out of the Ways and Means Committee, and we wanted to give you a little update on something that we're working on.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. We've been working on the medical kidnap bill for me and Tammy both. We started this way before the session began. We started clear back in the beginning of the summer, and we've worked on this with one parent in particular who had a very compelling case, and then we involved attorneys from all different states that work in the Child Protective Services area and represent these families. You know, people I don't think realize just what happens in the state of Idaho. We have 10,000 families a year that are violated and traumatized by protective services. You know, even just an investigation. And what's so unfortunate and sad is we live in a world now where I think the thing that parents fear the most, even beyond can I feed my kids, are that CPS will show up at their door. We want to protect our kids. We want to protect our babies and make sure they're safe. But at the same time, we don't want it to be so invasive that's what families worry about, is that CPS will show up.
Right. And this isn't the first time that we've worked on any type of legislation regarding CPS. We had back in 2019, when you were in the House with me, we had House Bill 170. That was a bill regarding CPS that passed the House. In 2020, we had House Bill 402 and 403 that passed the House. And then we also, in 2020, had House Bill 455. You and I voted for that one. It failed the House, unfortunately. And, we've been working. There's been several issues going on. And we know that there is something within this system that is not working correctly and that needs to be addressed.
Well, it's become such a moneymaker, not just a moneymaker for the state, because there are federal dollars that come in for every child that's taken.
Right.
But then once you get into this system as a parent, everybody has an attorney. There's an ad litem for the child. There's an attorney for the child, for the mom, for the dad, for CPS. There's all these classes that parents have to take. There's all these psychologists and these tests and these analysis, and somebody pays for all of that.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's a growing, self-feeding thing that preys on our families.
Yeah. So let's talk about this one a little bit. So, you want to go ahead and give a little bit of information on that? Sure.
So what we do is and we don't know what the House bill will be yet. So we're still.
But we'll let you know
as soon as we do. So what it does is this creates a new section in Idaho Code, and I really like the legislative findings, and I think it's important when we do legislation that we include legislative findings, because we've got the 5th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution prohibit the government from depriving individuals of their liberty or property interests without due process of law. And the way our CPS system is set up right now, parents are presumed guilty, and they have to prove their innocence. And I get that in some really extreme cases, of those 10,000 cases that are homes that are visited, 1,800 the kids are taken out, and over 75% of those the kids are returned with no findings. They can't find a reason to keep them.
Like our person that we were working with the last couple of years.
Exactly.
And it has been a couple of years, and that person is still working on getting their name cleared and getting their life back to normal.
They are. She was found not guilty of everything, but 2 years, and she had saved enough money to buy a home for their family. It took all of that savings for her to get her child back. Yeah. And we're talking, well, we'll get into the details of that later, but it was just, anyway, I get pretty wrapped up in this, so I'm sorry. So the interests and roles of parents in the care, custody, and control of their children are deeply rooted in our nation's history and tradition, and are among the unalienable rights retained by the people under the 9th Amendment of the Constitution. Idaho has established procedures for reporting child abuse and child neglect under the Child Protective Act, Chapter 16, Title 16, Idaho Code. Idaho has established laws for protecting parental rights under Chapter 10, Title 32. The Idaho legislature wishes to ensure that Idaho's procedures for child and adult protection cases comport with the constitutional due process and requirements. And in a nutshell, that's what this does. It ensures that due process is followed in the case of children, those under 18, and even are adults who are in a vulnerable position. So it protects that as well.
Right, and that due process component is very, very important.
Exactly, because, it protects so that if a parent decides, and I've done this before. I would take my kids to the doctor and get the doctor's opinion. We didn't go a lot, but then if the doctor would say, well, maybe you want to come in for a follow-up or whatever, and I get home and 5 days later, my kid's okay. I'm not going to go back because, we didn't have insurance that just paid for everything. And let's say a parent decides they want to go a different way and have their child treated a different way or a second opinion. Right. You have a right as a parent to make that decision. That's your call. That's not the government. You are. You are. When my youngest, she was 7 days when she went in the hospital. And they said she'd never live. They said, you'll never take her back out of there. But we did. But I guess the point of that is because I made decisions while I was there, and had those decisions been challenged, it could be that she wouldn't have come back out.
Right.
And you've been down that road as well.
I've been through that one too. Yep. I had a child that had some issues, and I just in the back of my head was, if I don't do this right, they might think that I'm doing something wrong, and how am I going to prove that I'm not, that I'm trying to do what's best for my child.
And you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to. A parent's biggest, greatest worry shouldn't be that the government's going to come after you and take your children, because once the children are in protective services custody,
it's a difficult process.
It is a very, very difficult process, and you are presumed guilty. And then not only that, because you want your babies back so bad,
right,
you probably make choices and decisions that you should not ought to make just because you want your kids back so bad. Right. And we see that so many times.
It really puts people in a desperate situation, and they don't know what to do.
It does. So this piece of legislation, and now that it's got a bill number, we'll be able to disseminate it. So we want everybody to read it. It's not going to go anywhere this year because I'm thinking we'll sine die today or tomorrow.
We're too close to the end of the session.
Too close to the end. And it's not that we didn't work hard to get it to this point before, but
because like you said, we've been working on this since about last summer.
We have.
So.
We truly, seriously, we have. But we have the bill number now. We're going to push hard all summer long. We're going to have it all ready to start when we take up session. I won't be here, but I will still be working on this. And then we are just praying that with your help, there will be people in chairmanship positions who will help us.
Right.
Who will help Idaho parents and not work for the departments.
Right.
And that's another thing when you go out to vote. Please really look and see. Look at the voting record. Look at what these people talk about. We represent you. I'm not here to represent any of the bureaucratic agencies. They have their own lobbyists.
We're the lobbyists for the people that can't afford a lobbyist.
Well, we're the lobby. We are for every citizen in this state, every parent, every child, that's our job, is to lobby for you.
Yep. And, we've had some issues that have transpired this year. And again, we really felt that it was important to get this bill out and at least get that discussion and let you guys see what we're trying to do here. Again, we want children protected. We want families to be helped that need it. But we want to make sure that we're keeping within the bounds of the government that has been set up and doing the things that are going to help families and not hurt them.
Exactly. And I think it was 1976, I'm not sure, but I think that's when the department and child protection services were set up. I'd have to, don't quote me on that, I'd have to check.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. But my point is that prior to that, families did just fine without all this government intervention. And when you stop and consider that the Department of Health and Welfare, that agency, has the biggest budget in the state, and we're talking 3/4 of our state budget now
That's a lot.
going to the Department of Health and Welfare. That's a lot of invasion into your life.
That's
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And prior to that, churches, family members, community groups, we were more in a position to take care of each other and look out for each other. And I think we did more because we didn't have that threat of the government over us and that intrusion and that invasion. And, you know, even from a Christ-like position, the Savior said, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime.
Right. Yep.
And we need to empower our families, and we need our parents to know that they're okay. And we make mistakes and bad things happen, and rather than to like fly in there, we need to work with our families and strengthen and empower them.
Yep, exactly. So as soon as we have a bill number, we'll put that out so that you can go online and see it. Actually, I'll probably even just try to upload it myself.
Okay.
But we're glad to get this out there. You know, we want to hear from you, your comments, your suggestions on what you think of it, and
and if you have stories, if you will get us your stories today or tomorrow, we will keep you will keep your confidentiality. Message us on Facebook, and I'll give you my private email address. Message Tammy, and I don't know if you got a private one, or she can give you mine.
I do.
And we don't want to share who you are, but we want to share your story so that people can see just how far-reaching this really is.
Right. And you know, we have a few other exciting things coming up this week that I'll tell you about later, but we have a big national news organization that's coming to do some interviews on this issue and a couple of other issues that we've been working on this legislative session, and actually for a few years. So
things don't just happen usually in one session.
No.
Most of these we worked on for years.
Yep, it takes a while. And again, we've been working on stuff regarding CPS issues since about 2017, 18, 19, right in there. And just about every year we have something that comes forward in regards to legislation that we're trying to get passed. So we are working on it, and we really appreciate all your support. And yes, please send us your stories, and we'll get this bill out as soon as we have a bill number, which should be probably later today or tomorrow.
Well, last night we got one in like 5 minutes. It's the end of the session. Anything can happen.
Everybody wants to get it out. So
thank you, and God bless you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Bye.